question number 5. How do you handle marketing, and are there any methods or hacks you can share? Well, marketing is a lot of different things, but really the first thing you should do when you're starting your company is start building community. You cannot build it too early. Start building a community around your product or service. Do that day one, right? So that to me is a hack that people overlook and just don't do until way down the road, but you can be doing that on day one. So that's tip number 1. Start a community ASAP. Second, marketing is about doing and testing, doing and testing, doing and testing. It's just you're always trying something and then testing to see if it worked. I have an hypothesis. I try it, see if it works. You're constantly doing that. So it's iteration, iteration, iteration. That's what marketing is all about. So you have to be comfortable in that environment. And whoever's leading the marketing, and if they're not comfortable in that, then find someone that is, because that's really what great marketers do, is they try something and they test it. They try something and they test it. So that to me is a critical piece of marketing that is overlooked. So make sure you have the right people in place to do that. Third, if you're in direct to consumer, if you're DTC, direct to consumer, then you should be using Facebook and Instagram. And you don't have to be using it for what I'm saying, marketing. You may not be doing it to drive leads, but you should be doing it in the early days to understand your customers. Understand your customers. It is a great platform to do market research about your customers and what they like and don't like. So now I say that direct to consumer because it's a very consumer friendly, but it can also be used in a B2B sense if you know your decision makers in that B2B world. Also, if you are B2B, LinkedIn is I say a great place to meet people within your industry by just doing simple outreach. And it's a numbers game. Believe me, it's a numbers game. You got to send 20 emails to maybe get 2 or 3 responses or in-mails. But I think it's a great way to do research and meet the right people within your industry. And they're easy to find by using LinkedIn. Don't spend money on branding until you have a product to sell, right? It's really simple. Here's my thing. No t-shirts until you have a product to sell. Like, don't go out and make t-shirts. Don't do all that stuff until you have a product to sell. Don't build a brand until you have something to build a brand around. So don't get, again, ahead of yourself in that process in the way of marketing, in the way of branding and doing those kind of things with the swag, right? Don't go buy swag until you have something that you know actually matters. And last but not least is you need to have, and you can go and market your product and get feedback even though the product doesn't yet exist. It may be just an idea, and you can do some marketing and do some customer research around that before the product ever exists. So I say do it early. Go out and try and create images, make it look like it actually exists, create web pages that make it look like the product exists, and get some feedback, because that's going to tell you a lot before you start building your product or service. And I think that happens way too much, and it's so easy to do, but you really should be doing it. So those are my tips and tricks on marketing and some hacks that I've used over the years.